Old Swanner here. The Wind Cries Mary came up in a lesson yesterday, and I spent a bit of time making what I consider to be a decent tab in Taplature form, with just about every instruction we need to get this churned out correctly. There'll be a few things on here you've probably not seen before, which I'll discuss. The usual approach is to chop this into pieces, put the pieces together to make the full thing, but at every stage we're looking to understand every single detail that's required to make this sound the way you want it to. Let's zoom in. I'm going to just put the camera in on the first 2 beats. Now here on beat 1, the red circle's indicating our foot tap down, one of the key components of learning things this way. This circle with a cross inside of it I call a woodpecker. It's my notation for coming in with the pick and muting the B string, ready to pick down, and it resembles a woodpecker's beak, sort of pecking. Well, you can't see it there. Pecking in on a bit of wood. So I'm banging my pick between the B and G strings and landing downwards on the B string. What that does is prepare me to play the notes that are coming up, and it gives you a real solid rhythmic feel, which is, well, in my experience, the thing that most people are missing when they've learnt this type of tablature. So on beat 1 I'll be doing the woodpecker. I'm not playing any notes until beat 2, and then on the end of beat 2 I'll be sliding these notes down. One other thing we've got here is this small grace note, hammering from fret 13 to 15 on the B string. So as my foot goes down, it's not quite the same as, in fact I probably didn't do it very well. It's just the tiniest hint of that 13 before you get the 15. This whole section comes out like so. 1 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. I'm out of breath. Following that through slowly, just running it as slowly as you need to make sense of those 4 movements. 1, clean as a whistle. On the and, we're just lifting the foot. On the 2, we're doing this grace note hammer on the B string while playing the top string as well. So I'm going to do all that as the foot goes down. As the foot then comes up on the and of beat 2, I slide. Let's jump to the next section. And this is probably beneficial to take a beat at a time. Let's just look at beat 3. So there's 4 movements here. Again, I've got the woodpecker, the mute, in preparation for playing the B and E strings. That's happening on beat 3. I'm also into semiquaver counting here. For all these things, I'll put little links in the box above and to your right, that you can run through, and I've got blog articles that discuss this stuff in a whole lot more detail. Running this section here, if I just run beat 3, again, beat 3, I've got the woodpecker on the down foot. On the count of semiquavers, I do nothing. As the foot comes up and I count and, I'm picking the top 2 strings at fret 8, which is and then on the of the semiquaver count, I am adding in the 3rd finger, giving me the 10 on the B string, and that's my foot stays up. So there's quite a lot going on even in one beat there. Let's put it all together. So I've got my 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, and as ever, you want to work these things up and making sure you've got it perfect the whole way through. Don't try and race it. You'll find it naturally gets faster as you program that in with correct repetition. Beat 4 is not dissimilar. Again, we're still in semiquaver counting. 4 and 4 and 4 and is where those notes are going to drop. Let's run that slow. So I've got the 4, the 2 8s, so it's 4. On the I'm playing the G string fret 10. As the foot comes up, I've got and here I've got a woodpecker, which is preparing me for what happens in the next line. So that's my and again I'm muting the B string with the pick. So running that a bit more musically in time and bringing some speed into it, it will sound like this. 4 and 4 and 4 and we could then move on and put beat 3 and 4 together to make the full second half of that top line, which would come out as 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 I'm going too fast, faster than I can do that. Let's get it right. It's 3 and 4 3 and that's, I'd say, easier in the context of the full lick. It's quite different when you're repeating it into itself, but there's big merit in doing that. There's not so much happens on the bottom line that's very different, I think. Here's one big difference actually. Let's zoom right in beat 1 of this second line. Now here we're into effectively 6 notes per beat, we'll have to view this as. We've got 3 notes on the down foot, 1 note on the up foot. The note on the up foot lasting as long as the 3 notes on the down foot. Now the skeleton of this pattern, i.e. that which happens on the down foot and the up foot, you can see on the down foot I've got the 2 8s, that's the 1, and on the up foot I've got this 10 on the G string, and 1 and 1 and 1 and. Now when I add the hammer and the pull off in, that skeleton is still going to be there. It won't change the shape of that at all. We're just adding notes in the gaps between the down foot and the up foot. The easiest way I've found to count something like this, if you picture your foot going down and up, everyone knows the nursery rhyme hickory dickory dock. Let's picture on the down foot we've got hickory and the up foot we've got dickory, like so. Hickory dickory, hickory dickory, hickory dickory. Now that gives me 6 notes per beat, nice and evenly paced. Of course here we've only got the 1 on the up. So instead of hickory dickory, we're not playing on the cut-ry here. I would say that's called hickory dock. Hickory dock. And the shape of those notes comes out as hickory dock, hickory dock, hickory dock. Nothing magic about the words I'm using. You could call it 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3 and, or even keep the count going. 1, 2, 3 and 2, 3. Or how about down 2, 3, up 2, 3, down 2, 3, up 2, 3. Hopefully that's enough to get you making sense of that little bit. Then we're sliding, so beat 2 is fairly straightforward. Third finger slide up to 12 of the D string on beat 2. So I've got 2, and then I've got semiquavers on the up foot. And 2, so 2 and 2 and probably easier if we have the to help you place that. Let's put that in here as well. And there's our full count then. 2 and 2 and nothing happening on the apart from the 12 will still be ringing. I've got 2 and 2 and 2 and that bit should be reasonably straightforward as long as your semiquaver counting is okay. Again, check the link in the top left, top right of your screen for more on semiquavers, for a sort of crash course, if you like, in semiquavers. Beat 3. Here we have nothing too thrilling. I've got 3 and it's just ringing through that up foot. 3 and 3 and 3 and beat 4, all we're going to do is slide. I think he does it on the he probably slides it down to a fret 10, I think, on the record, but it doesn't really matter. Tough to practice beat 4 in isolation. But if we twin it with beat 3, we would get 3 and 4 and 4 and 4. It wouldn't really matter if you slid that down anywhere else here, really, but I think on the record he slides it right on that semiquaver count there. But not the biggest of deals. You know, if you just let that 12 ring to the end of the bar, it'll still work okay. So coming back to the full thing, when those building blocks are in place, you could then, you know, put building block 1 and 2, the two halves of the top line together, and make the full top line. Same for the second line. But running the whole thing, once it's fully up, we can follow that nice and mechanically through. In fact, I might just fire up a useful tool. Here's a great tool if anyone has a Windows PC they can use to practice with. Chord Pulse Lite. A quick Google will find that, and it lets you put chords in and play them at whatever speed you want. You can put full songs in pretty easily. The backing for When Cries Mary, the section I've printed up anyway, is 2 beats of F, 2 beats of E flat, and a bar of B flat. I'm going to try and drop the taplature on top of this backing after 1 round. 1 and 2 and 3. Let's bring my tab back. 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. So I'm down here, and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 2 and 3 and 4 speed on it a little bit. I'll probably not try and count it as I go faster. I'm not that familiar with this yet. I've just been looking at it for about a day. Faster. I'm guessing the record speed, let's see, a little slower than that. Let's say about 75. 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Pretty authentic. I've not quite got the Hendrix Strat sound, but that should be pretty recognisable, and I can guarantee if you learn it this way, you're going to spot so many details that it's entirely possible to overlook completely. The woodpeckers in particular, I think, are not generally very well covered. So again, check out the article up there on woodpeckers if you want a bit more. There's a couple of famous examples that you'll recognise. Anyway, I wish you best of luck with that. Enjoy.